Welcome to the podcast where mental health is at the core of what we focus on. We strive to develop people like you to maximize who you are and what you've been called to do by sharing tools and resources for better brain health. And now here's your host, Juan Garcia.
Hey everyone, welcome to the podcast where we focus on mental health and peak performance. And today we are in the middle of a series entitled Untangling Relationships. And I want to focus on two big emotions that are very, very much responsible and active in the tangling of a lot of our relationships. And those two emotions are hurt and anger. Hurt and anger. Now, I want to make sure that I preface what I'm about to kind of unravel for you in this episode specifically, that emotions as a whole are not facts. Feelings are not facts, right? Just because we feel some type of way, it doesn't mean that it's factual, that it's true. Now, something could have occurred that affected the way we feel, and that could be true. But our emotions in them of themselves are not factual. And the reason why I want to emphasize on that is because a lot of times we give too much emphasis on our feelings as if they themselves are true, independent from what's happening. And so we go into this sense of feeling hurt or angry to justify trying to get away with something or just trying to get something to go our way, when in fact those feelings are just connected to either us trying to control or being controlled by something or someone, and that's not healthy. So I want to make sure that I'm defining emotions as a whole, and now get into our specific episode as it relates to hurt and anger in relationships that come all tangled up. Now, if you have any questions, comments about that little intro, just drop it down below, and I would be more than happy to go into more details with you regarding what I was trying to explain. But hear me out, because hurt and anger are valid feelings and they're valid emotions. Every emotion that we can possibly experience are valid emotions. What becomes something that we have to make sure that we're careful in establishing a category for it is whether or not they come from a place of actual health. Because a lot of our feelings can be connected to unhealth, right? They can be connected to codependency, which is what we've been discussing in this series as well. Because a lot of the tangling of relationships that we can experience is directly related to the codependency traits and tendencies that we have formed in our lives because of the way we grew up, our ideologies, our ways of thinking, our coping mechanisms, our defense mechanisms, etc. And so if you haven't watched any of the other episodes, I really recommend that you do, so you get a really good kind of context of what we're trying to break down in this specific series. Now, hurt and anger, they're very, very strong emotions. Fear is probably one of the strongest, right alongside with anger, because fear shows up in different ways, and fear can paralyze people. I've heard the story of an individual, and this is just a little side note, but just to give you a little bit of context what I'm trying to say as well. The individual was living on the third floor, and the apartment where he was living was on fire, and the fire department came. They were outside of his window, and he was at the window, and they had the layout of the cushion, the bubble that they lay out so individuals can jump into safety. And the person was so full of fear that he froze. He didn't try to go into the house and get out, and he didn't try to jump off. He just froze and unfortunately died in the fire. And that's what fear does. It has that power. Fear could also push us to do things that we would never do because we're so scared of the outcome. And so it has that driving force, just like it does with anger. Anger can drive us to do things that we probably would not do on a normal day. But because we're so angry, we're so full of that frustration and that anger that has built up, it literally gives us a strength. Because remember also that emotions are chemicals. They're chemically induced. And so they give us this, especially when someone is full of rage, when you hear of somebody full of rage, that they can lift up a car or they can do things that it takes several people to calm them down or to hold them down and restrain them. That's what it does. That's the power of the emotions that we can experience. And so anger is one of them. And hurt is one that is quiet in nature for the most part, but is very, very deeply rooted in us. We can carry hurt for decades. We can carry hurt for all of our lives and not necessarily even really talk about it. And so these are two emotions that are deeply rooted in relationships that are tangled up. And one of them, hurt, what it does is it causes numbness. I'm reading my notes here, and this is superficial in relationships, right? A person that just dismisses things, they get told something very, very negative about their character or about something they care about, and they're like, it's no big deal. And their friend says, you're gonna let them talk to you like that? It's whatever. And they dismiss it, and they constantly say, it's whatever. No, it's not whatever. It's giving you pain, and that pain is hurt, right? You're hurt. And when you're hurt and you don't deal with that pain just becomes a solid chemical that's induced in your body that weighs you down. And it also can impede you from your full potential, from actually getting things done where God has created you to actually be. And then anger shows up so many different ways. There's direct anger, there's passive anger. And as I study this more and more in people's behaviors, passive anger could be more dangerous than actual anger, because if you're experiencing anger from someone, at least you know where they're coming from. They're direct, they're bold, they're saying things to you that are very direct, and you don't have to guess. But when someone is passively angry, they take digs, and maybe if you don't catch it or you're not really paying attention, it's just happening, and this person really is using passivity to manipulate the situation and the relationship. And so these are two emotions that I want you to be mindful of as it relates to relationships, because they can really cause the tangling to get deeper and deeper as far as the tension of the relationship. One of the ways that we respond to hurt and anger is that we excuse the offender and we blame ourselves. It's okay, that's just the way they are, and no, it's my fault. I should have known better, or I should have, just humbled myself, and I should have just, taken the L, as they say. No, that is codependency. You won't speak up for yourself. You won't be assertive because you don't want to offend. You feel bad, you feel guilty, and that is not healthy. That is codependency. And I want you to be empowered to speak up in love and in grace and say how you feel. And another one with anger is displaced anger. It's this this opportunity that we constantly take on those that have nothing to do with what's happening, and we take it out on them. Why do you always gotta come in when I'm doing, that I'm in the middle of this, and and we snap at people, and the person's like, what are you talking about? Oh no, because and then we say things and we add and we And it's all displaced anger. We're giving our anger to people, or we're displaying it to people that have nothing to do with the issue. And so these are different ways that we respond. There's also outbursts of anger. There's using self-pity and anger to manipulate others. It's the individual that doesn't go to work and tells his wife, can you call in for me and tell him I can't come to work because, I'm not feeling well. And can you get me? And it sounds so subtle. And I'm not saying that every case that this happens, it's manipulation. But this is a way that it does show up, where now the wife feels bad that if she doesn't call, that the husband's going to be disappointed, and it just escalates into unnecessary emotions, and she complies. But it's his way of using self-pity to manipulate her to do what he wants. And it shows up so subtle, but that's exactly what's happening. And so these are codependencies. These are not healthy. Hurt and anger are the two emotions that really surface as it relates to untangling relationships. When we want to get all that enmeshed stuff in relationships that are just not giving us a clear path to enjoying each other in our relationships, there's going to be hurt and there's going to be anger that we have to unpack and connect to. Where is this coming from? Why is this person behaving this way? And again, it's all codependency. It's all ways that we learned to cope and to show up in life because of what has happened to us. And so I hope that's helpful to you. Emotions are powerful, and so I want you to have a healthy way of dealing with your emotions. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please do so. We also have resources. Guys, I have developed journals for mental health. That's right, journals for mental health. I'll put the link in the description. There's one for men. Actually, there's two for men. You can pick one or the other. And there is one for women. I also have one with blank lines, so that if you just don't want to be guided into doing anything specific, it just has lines and you can just write. You can write about me. Man, this guy's talking about all this. Just take advantage of these resources. The two for men and the one for the women is guided. I have meditation, I have mindfulness, I have gratitude lists, affirmation lists, etc. Please check them out. They're there for you to use it as a mental health tool so that you can process all of these things in a healthy way. So that's it for this episode. I hope to see you on the next one.
Thank you for tuning into our podcast. For more information, visit our website at juangarciaenterprises.com. Our host, Juan Garcia, is available for speaking, coaching, and one-on-one counseling. You can email us at info@juangarciaenterprises.com. Until next time, remember, we only have one mind, so mind yours.